we be? It's
Hey,
the straight talk,
straight talk,
straight talk,
straight talk,
straight talk,
straight talk.
straight talk.
We
We gonna get into it.
fella
Welcome,
Rev.
welcome.
What's up? What's up?
What's going on, Josh? How you living?
I'm pretty good actually. This is a good week for me as far as school. So it's a good Friday. Happy Friday to everybody out there.
Oh,
Hope you enjoy the show.
it's
Everything
Friday.
we got planned for you guys today.
We about to turn up. It's Friday.
We already turned up. That was a great intro.
All right, so you know the first thing I gotta talk to you about today, right?
Yeah.
Your Cardinals. They ain't making. And we're gonna talk about that a little bit later. But what I want to know from you is, what do they need to do this offseason in order to be better next season?
Um. So if you listen to the stream last week, or if you listen to the YouTube video last week that I uploaded. By the way, follow us or follow me on Joshua Tyler at YouTube or subscribe on my YouTube channel. It's Joshua Tyler. Subscribe to my Twitch, which is Fella on the Car Phone. If you obviously you know that if you're listening to it, but if you listening to this later on my YouTube channel, it's Fella on the Car Phone at Twitch and subscribe there as well as subscribing on YouTube. Give us some love and continue to listen to us. We appreciate all the support from everybody.
For
But
sure.
back to the question. Last week I said the Cardinals was gonna make the playoffs,
Okay.
and I lied.
You did. You let me down a little bit.
I lied. They they came up pretty small this week versus the Cubs. I thought they was gonna do good against the Cubs.
So what happened?
What happened?
What
Like I
happened,
just
bro?
said, they came up small. It was some sissies. But it brings a big off season for the Cardinals. I think some moves they need to make, some moves they should make,
Okay.
and I'm gonna just break down a few. Um, First of all, I think they need to keep Tommy Pham for sure. Keep
Okay.
Tommy Pham, and we got to get rid of some of these outfielders. Outfielders that I'm willing to get rid of. Let's see. You can get rid of Dexter Fowler, even though we just signed him, so that's probably not going to happen. You can get rid of Randall Grichuk. You could have gotten rid of him. Um, who else? I mean that's the main few. As far as the people that's coming up, I like Sierra. I feel like we should keep Sierra. Um, was there somebody else?
It's your segment, cuz.
I'm trying to think. Well, I don't know. So yeah, I think they can get rid of Fowler for sure. They can get rid of Grichuk for sure. And maybe bring in a big name guy. I'm not sure who.
I think Mark McGuire is who they need, or Pujols. I think that's exactly who the Cardinals need.
Mark McGuire.
Yeah, he. Okay, Barry Bonds for sure.
All right, we're just gonna let me handle the
Okay,
baseball
yeah, I'm sorry.
segments from.
I
Don't hurt yourself. All right. So but as far as
Barry
I think, yeah, I think so. As far as outfielders, keep Tommy Pham and maybe bring in a different guy. Maybe bring in somebody other than Fowler. Maybe bring in a big name guy. Obviously, you can't bring in somebody like Giancarlo Stanton. He signed a huge contract with Miami. I would love to see him on the Cardinals though, but that's kind of far out there. As far as the infielders, get rid of Jed Jerko.
Mm-hmm.
Um, See what you can get with Matt Carpenter, maybe,
Okay.
which is probably a lot of people would think that's shocking, but he's getting a little older. He got hot this season, but he's Carpenter gets hot once a year and then kind of just falls off
Just
at the
fizzles
end of the
out.
year. Yeah. So I wouldn't be opposed to seeing him go. And one thing I think I'm already confident in, I don't think they need to make too many changes outside of maybe trading one of the pitchers on our team.
Right.
Starting pitchers, we got a lot of starting pitchers. We got Alex Reyes going to come back and have his rookie season, and I can't wait to see him. I think he's going to be a beast. You got Carlos Martinez, Baby Pedro, he's a beast. You got Lance Lynn. I think they're going to sign him this off season, re-sign him. because he had a immaculate 2017 year, and he continues to have good years. Immaculate. Yeah, he
Ooh.
balled out this year. Mike Leake. No, not Mike Leake. I'm tripping. I'm sorry. Luke Weaver. Luke Weaver balled this year. He's a young pitcher. I think he's going to make the starting five. And then that fifth spot is really up in the air. I think maybe if they could shore up the fifth spot with somebody, starting pitcher, free agency maybe. I think that fifth spot is where they'll probably go into free agency. So the big moves is keep Tommy Pham for sure. Don't get rid of him. Pick up an outfielder. Or no, I'm sorry. Pick up a starting pitcher, and he doesn't have to be a 5-star starting pitcher. Just give him a three nice five five starter, and maybe even trade Matt Carpenter. I think that's maybe a move that they need to potentially consider. Um, he's probably going to be wanting a decent amount of money soon. I don't believe we signed him to a contract recently. We might have. I'm not sure, but yeah. So those are my three big moves for this off season for the Cardinals. And obviously, if they probably won't do any of those, because I'm not the general manager. If I was the general manager, yeah, we would probably win the World Series. Yeah, in the paint. So yeah, that's it's going to be a very interesting off season for the Cardinals this year. I'm actually excited because I can't wait to see Alex Reyes. I'm really excited for next season. Alex Reyes is going to ball out, and he's cool. He's a cool baseball player. Cardinals don't have very many cool baseball players.
And baseball doesn't have very many cool baseball players.
Yeah, but Cardinals is one of the teams that lacks a few. Tommy Pham is a cool baseball player.
Mostly just because his last name. I dig that.
Yeah. Dexter Fowler, he's pretty cool.
Lil Dex. Okay.
Yeah. And then it kind of fizzles out after that.
Yeah.
The manager's not cool. We don't have any cool.
Is LaRusso? He's pretty.
All right, we're gonna go to Romero's question of the day.
Which, by the way, Josh, I think solid C. He just baseball sucks, so I don't really care what you say. They can go get Barry Bonds, and I'd still be like, I just unless you take me to the game and give me some Cracker Jacks, I'm not really loving baseball too much. But yeah, good job. Keep it up, fella.
See, you still holding a grudge from last week, ain't you?
Listen.
Yeah.
Next question.
Yeah. Okay. Question of the day for my guy, Rev Rowe. And he forgot to introduce a segment.
Yeah, by the way, question of the day for those of you that missed it last week. Question of the day is where we ask each other's opinions on hot takes in the sports world. After that, we give each other a grade based on how we feel they did. There was a little bit of hater motivation towards Josh's grade because last week I feel like he disrespected my very well thought out, eloquent answers. So he gets a C this week. We'll see how he grades me because he's kind of a tool sometimes with grading. So I don't know.
All right. To my question. All right, to you, Mr. Rev. Who has the best chance of taking down the Warriors this year? All the trades that's been going on, I'm asking after what happened this past week, which we will discuss later.
Mm-hmm. You know we're gonna talk about
Who's got the best chance of beating the Warriors in the finals, or I mean, even in the West in general? Just who has the best chance?
Okay, well, first of all, we're just gonna start with the finals. Nobody cares who makes it out of the conference. It's who wins the championship. Biggest threat to the Warriors, championship wise, is the same threat that they've had for the last 3 years. If you look at Cleveland's roster, they've got the most well-rounded, semi-star-studded roster that we've seen in a while. I mean, they legitimately their secondary bench five or whatever you want to call them, their secondary lineup, that that has a potential to be a starting lineup in some teams in this league. So to argue that a team that has essentially two starting fives wouldn't be the biggest threat to the Warriors, I mean, you have to think of the pieces that they've got. Besides the god Jose Calderon, the Cavaliers have gotten Jay Crowder, Isaiah Thomas, Jeff Green, D Wade recently. I know you like that. That's your boy. I know you like that.
They're stacked.
Who doesn't want to see D Wade and LeBron play again? First of all, that was fun. So, I mean, just top to bottom, the Cavs are stacked. With all the pieces that they have, that'll give LeBron some time to rest. with the abundance of decent small forwards slash power forwards they have, that'll give Kevin Love some time to rest. They got D Rose, J.R. Smith, uh, Jose Calderon, IT back at the top of the year, somewhere in January maybe. So they got decent backcourt pieces that they can play around with. They got a lot of fun lineups they can mess around with. So on a larger scale, Cavs, because the Warriors, I mean, they've got a decent bench, but I just feel like on paper, Cavs bench looks like if they play right, if everything pans out, there's no major injuries. Cavs bench looks like they can give the Warriors some trouble. That, like I said, they got a lot of different combinations they can mess with. So
Cavs bench.
Cavs bench, because the complaint has been for the last 3 years, the Cavs don't have what? A bench.
Do you think Do you think their bench can give the Warriors troubles, or the
I think
Warriors bench some trouble?
I think no, yeah, well, the Warriors bench.
Okay,
Well, I don't know. They got a starting five coming off the bench, so they might be able to give a little bit more fight to the starting five.
that's
But I mean,
arguable.
that's arguable. But in the past, we've had there was this guy that used to be arguably one of the best point guards in the league, and then he went to Brooklyn. His career fizzled out. I can't. Oh, D. Will, yeah, and he scored a total of 5 points in 5 games. Yeah, as their point guard off the bench. So he was trash. Shumpert, I love him to death, but he hit the side of the backboard on the corner three, so he wasn't. Uh, they've got more help as far as out west. I think that if James Harden didn't choke last year, I think that he could have definitely. It would have been a fun series. Warriors and Rockets. They play the same game. Threes, 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 threes. It would have been fun to watch from an offensive standpoint. Defensive, well, we know who James Harden is, and we know who D'Antoni is. They don't preach defense. So depending on how they gel as a team, the Rockets may be interesting to look out for, but their bench is kind of depleted, so maybe not. We've got a lot of fun starting fives against the Warriors, but bench will be everybody's problem. That's why I think overall Cavs have it. Thunder, they look good on paper. If everything works out,
NBA Finals will win in how many games if you're picking the Cavs?
Cavs and four. With my do rag and my cigarette in my mouth. Cavs and four. I think realistically, if I think we'd be playing 6 or 7 games. I think at least if somebody beats whoever. So disregarding any major roster shifts, 6 or 7 games, I'll go Cavs in seven. LeBron and D Wade, they reunited for a reason. They're about to go for that fourth. And that's hopefully. I think I'm tired of people trashing LeBron. I used to be a LeBron hater, but you can't disrespect him. So
Absolutely not.
I would like him to win, most of all, because I don't want to see Kevin Durant or Steph win anymore. I'm kind of over them. Nobody wants to keep seeing them win. And I
do.
think it would just further, yeah, well, of course you do. You just love him to death. But I think it would just further submit LeBron's legacy, regardless of the finals record. He's still got four. So
Okay.
that's my take.
All right. I like that. I like that take. I'm gonna give you an A minus.
Yo, hear that? That's a
Yeah, I like that. That was pretty good. You very pointed, good points.
yeah.
Um, you I feel like you weren't biased at all. I feel like you were
Never.
pretty objective with what you were telling me, what you were telling the Twitch
People.
verse, the
Yeah,
people.
the
Yeah.
people. That's what it's about.
So yeah, A minus. I give you A minus. I like that.
With that in mind, Josh, I'll move you up from a C to a. You knew what you were talking about, but B plus just for disrespecting me last
So
week.
you A.
So, hey, it is what it is. So we're gonna move on to the NFL. I'm sure many of you that are football fans saw that President Trump. Not gonna directly quote him, but he had some strong feelings about people sitting on or kneeling. I'm sorry, during the national anthem. So my question to you, Josh, is how did you feel about the league-wide demonstrations?
Um, I think it was poor. They were good. I mean,
Poor.
this is my thing. They weren't doing this until Trump said anything.
Facts.
I feel like, and really the kneeling in the beginning had nothing to do with the president of the United States, because obviously the president of the United States, when he began kneeling, wasn't it Obama
It was Obama.
who's still the president? Um, so yeah, and now it just makes everybody feel like that they're kneeling because of,
Trump condemned it.
yeah,
I feel like the focus is
but
not
it has nothing to do with anything that Trump said. Originally, it has nothing to do with anything he's done or said. It's got to do with police brutality.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know. I feel like the focus of it is kind of just it's drifted from what it's supposed to be. Because some people's kneeling felt like, well, is this just supposed to be like a stick it to the man? Like, yeah, screw you, Trump. If that's how you feel about us, we'll give you even more reason. Or are you doing it because you actually support the cause? But what I did like is that uh, even some owners were on the field. Jerry Jones was down there. Whoever the guy, I don't even remember his name. I know I'm wrong, but I'm calling him Hector Herrera. That's his name. My book. He was down there with the Jaguars. Uh,
No, going back to Jerry Jones, what he did was dumb.
well,
That didn't make any sense. They kneeled before the anthem and then stood up.
at least the thought counts, I guess. I
No,
mean,
no,
at least
because it's not. It don't got nothing to do with the national anthem.
none of this had anything to do with the original kneeling, quote unquote, protest. But I just think the fact that some owners felt strongly enough to show that they support their players, which really they didn't support their players because if they supported their players, Colin Kaepernick have a
Right,
job.
exactly.
But I mean,
Exactly. They don't support their
they
players
didn't
because
have to put their necks out there though.
if they really cared about their players, then Kaepernick would probably have a job.
But
If they really cared about us, he would have a job.
But you have to think about it. People, regardless of what those people was doing Sunday, people was mad. I saw people tweeting about how the Dallas Cowboys ain't America's team no more because they were out there kneeling, which, like you said, they really kind of weren't.
Yeah.
But Jerry Jones puts his neck on the line by being down there when it doesn't necessarily have anything to do with the original quote unquote protest. But since he's out there, he'll get lumped into the narrative. So he puts his neck on the line for that doesn't, he doesn't have to do that. So for that reason, I will commend him. But if any of them actually gave a crap, like you said, or like I originally said, Kaepernick would have a job and have to listen to people cry about it.
Yeah. I don't think. Actually, I boycotted the NFL over the weekend. I didn't watch any football games.
I boycott it every week. I don't watch football.
All
But
right.
yeah,
Well, you're doing good.
we're on the same
But
page.
I think if they really need to just get the message back to where it was, which is,
we're losing focus.
yeah, and I mean that's exactly probably what Trump wants, or anybody on, you know, we're not gonna get too political.
Yeah, but just to wrap up the political segment, I cannot think of the woman's name. She was speaking at a conference. This is White House related. She has some position in the White
Oh,
House.
you talking about Sarah Huckabee?
Is that the one that said that
Sanders?
they should be protesting
Yeah,
the police on the field?
yeah.
And then turned right back around and said, "Well, I wasn't suggesting that they do that. I was calling out the hypocrisy." So
Yes,
we're going to be sarcastic
she's
now
great.
in the White House. That's what we're doing. We're bringing sarcasm.
She's great. She's really good at her job.
I believe it.
She's good at her job.
Hopefully, one by one, we can just get his whole administration to step down so they can just stop saying stupid stuff.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that's nothing personal against the president. I don't care. But not only is he foolish, but a lot of the people in his staff show themselves to be foolish as well. So I guess what can you expect? With the clown, there's a circus, right? Anyway,
Yeah, we're gonna change the
on
subject
from the politics and
because you getting me there.
demonstrations.
You getting me there. I
I'm
was
just
close. You
calm
almost
down, fella.
you
Calm
triggering
down.
me.
Breathe.
All right, that's
All
me gonna
right,
bring my dead out of me.
I don't want that. I don't want Big Bill pop up.
All right, go ahead. I'm sorry.
Before in a minute we're gonna look at the big matchups coming up in what is it, week 4 that we're about to go into?
Mm-hmm.
But
Week 4.
I just talk about the Cowboys. I'm sorry, not the Cowboys, the Giants. What's going on? They 0-3.
They I don't know. I was actually just about to say they suck, but they really, on paper, they really look like a nice team.
On paper, it always comes back to bite us
Y-
because
Yeah,
on paper, a
yeah.
lot of things look good.
And actually, it's really embarrassing because I told somebody, I'm not sure who it was, but people ask me for Super Bowl picks, and now that I can't just default the Rams,
Right?
I really struggle with that question now because I honestly don't care about who wins the Super Bowl anymore.
Same.
Um, I do watch it. I typically watch it. I pick the Super Bowl champion when it's the week before the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I pick
Yeah.
who's going to win.
Exactly.
But before the season, I don't really dig that deep into making predictions. But I told somebody that the Giants were going to. This felt like a Giants Super Bowl winning year. They had Odell Beckham. They brought in Brandon Marshall.
Yeah.
They brought in. Oh, they already got Sterling Shepard, who I feel like is really good. Um, and I don't really know too much about the defense, but I mean they never really had that awesome of a defense in the
To
first
put it
place.
all together, they got, I think, one of the most overlooked or underrated quarterbacks.
Yeah, Eli Manning,
Eli
and then
doesn't get
yeah,
as much credit as he deserves.
and that was another thing. I felt like Eli Manning was going to have one of those years where he kind of like got back into the elite conversation because he's
Asserted himself.
always in and out of the conversation. So I actually told somebody that they were going to win. They were going to be a Super Bowl team,
Yeah,
and
I feel that.
yeah,
I've never made that pronouncement to anybody, but I felt like they should be creeping up on that
yeah.
pretty soon. Like you said, on paper they look good. They've got decent pieces to be able to win games, and it just isn't seeming to work out. The other day, though, I guess you can't really hold it against them, but they lost by a 61-yard field goal. Who would even expect that somebody would make that field
Mm.
goal? But I mean, still, it would put him at 1-2.
Yeah,
I mean,
but I wouldn't write them off yet. Odell Beckham is really just now getting healthy.
yeah, he was taking his time with it a little bit.
Yeah, and they barely, like you said, they barely lost last week, and they really
61
lost.
yards.
Yeah, they lost.
Shout out to the Eagles though for
They
pulling that
lost
one
by a
off.
miracle. Yeah, the Eagles are looking really good. Um,
61-yard field goal.
yeah, their kicker, I
I mean,
should say, is looking really good.
yeah, if anybody else doesn't look good, it's definitely him. I was surprised he pulled that off. I kind of jumped up a little bit.
But yeah, I watch out for the Eagles. I like Carson Wentz. He's a good quarterback. I really wanted the Rams to draft him last year, but they didn't.
Of course not.
Um. So yeah, I don't think I wouldn't write the Giants off yet. It's an 0-3 start. Um. Chiefs started last year 0-5, I think, and won the last 11 games and won the division.
Wow.
So don't write
Fair
them
enough.
off yet. They still got a good team. Brandon Marshall, who had a breakout, well not a breakout, but a comeback year last year.
Right. Right.
He's still on the team. I think he's gotten into a slow start. You got Beckham on the other side. You got Eli Manning. I think they're gonna be able to lead them, at least to the playoffs.
So we're looking at a comeback kid, maybe. You're thinking an underdog here.
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
I
I
dig
mean,
it.
the fact that I picked them, I'm just because like I said, I know I picked them, so I'm just gonna keep riding with them
You're gonna
because
stick by that.
I'm gonna stick by that. Even though I didn't pick them on the show. I forgot about it. But yeah, I know I did pick. I told somebody that I was going with the Giants.
I'll take it.
Panthers are close second though.
I respect it. And just quickly before we look at the big matchups, just a quick shout out to Aaron Rodgers. He had a decent game. What was that? Last night?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that was last night. He had a decent game.
As Steven they would say, that's a bad man.
Quote your former coach, Mark Jackson. Mama, there goes that man.
Yeah,
He had a pretty good game.
that boy's a beast.
I think he just continues to solidify his reputation as one of the upper echelon guys as far as the
Definitely.
quarterback position goes.
He's probably second behind Tom Brady.
Where's Pate? Yeah, okay. I'll let you have that.
I'm not talking about all the time. I'm talking about
Oh,
this
okay,
playing
just
right now.
currently.
Yeah,
Okay, I was like, well, wait a minute. But yeah, and it was against the Bears, so I guess what do you really expect but a W? But that's another story. Chicago doesn't really claim the Bears as far as I'm concerned.
yeah. So we're gonna move on. Like you said, like Rev hinted to, we're gonna do some picks. We just went through we went through 5 games that we feel like are kind of
Marquee,
talkable.
marquee.
Yeah, marquee games this week. And we kind of just wanted to give our picks on the games. These games caught our eyes when we were looking at the NFL roster. Or I'm sorry, the NFL schedule. And so the first game that we wanted to talk about was the Carolina Panthers at the New England Patriots. Two recent Super Bowl teams. One lost the Super Bowl 2 years ago. One won the Super
wins
Bowl.
all the time. Yeah.
One is a reigning champion. So we've talked about the Patriots a couple times this year. So who you got, Riff?
What do I always tell you about Patriots and Brady, Josh? You just don't doubt it. There are just certain teams that you never go against. It would be stupid. I mean, if you ask somebody in what 91, 92, or 93 who's winning the finals, what would they have told you? If they didn't say Michael Jordan, they were probably hating. Come on, now you can't argue with the success.
That's the same way with the Warriors.
Exactly. You'd be stupid with the Warriors and the Cavs at this point. You'd be stupid the last 3 years to say that one of those teams isn't going to be there. So I'm going to continue to make the smart pick. And if I were a betting man, I would put money on the Patriots because if you didn't do it, you're asking to lose. As much as I'd like to see the Panthers do something, I was really disappointed that they got smacked in the Super Bowl a few years ago. I was starting to join that Cam Newton wave. It was looking good. You know what? I'm pretty sure we just saw the same text. Quick break from what I was saying. That was a nasty hit in the Packers game. Hopefully that young man is okay because after looking at several, I'm sorry, it's not funny at all, but after looking at several angles, that was scary.
Yeah,
the initial angle didn't look that bad, but
yeah, we're getting text messages to both of our phones. We forgot to speak about Devontae Adams. Got
smacked.
Yeah, he got smacked yesterday in that game.
And at that point, it was what 21-7. Like
no, it was was it? Yeah, it was. It was 21-7. Yeah,
the
you're
score
right.
was
You're
pretty
right.
high.
Yeah, it was
Why the hell
21-7.
are even?
They was upset. I'm sure is exactly what happened. The Bears were mad because they were down 14-0 early in the first quarter.
Yeah.
They was mad, and the dude took a nasty cheap shot.
But like, I don't know. I get cheap shots, and of course you do too, having Zaza Pachulia on your team. But I mean, if you're there's just certain stuff you don't do. Like I understand wanting to get in a cheap shot or whatever, but you can't go after a guy's head like that. His head and his neck. What do football players always talk about is their biggest issue whenever they're done with their careers. It's their head.
But speaking on that, we're really going on a tangent. But speaking on that, you just made me think of it. What about Larry Fitzgerald saying that he would pay the fines for people? Because when you hit somebody in the head, you get fined.
Right.
So he's telling the defensive players that he's going to pay their fine because he'd rather them hit him in the head than take out his legs and potentially end his season or maybe even his career. What do you think about that?
It's almost a lose-lose. I mean, in the long term, a low hit could cost you your season of career. A high hit could cost you your season of career.
Yeah.
And potentially your life.
Well, no. Well, yeah, that's the thing. Because
I mean, if that man had broken his neck,
yeah,
he could have been paralyzed.
Yeah.
Anything could have happened.
Yeah.
So really, there's no good spot to get hit.
It's football.
Yeah. So it's a dangerous sport in general. But anyway, back to what we were talking about as far as the matchups. I'm going Patriots. I already know you talked about your love for the Panthers and Newton. I know you're going Panthers.
Yeah. I don't know. The Newton he's gotten off to a slow start as well. So I'm really just going for the Panthers for my hate of the New England Patriots.
I'm not mad at it.
So yeah, Panthers, and then I think week 1 Chiefs versus the Patriots, their rookie running back Kareem Hunt had a immaculate game. Ooh, that was a good game. I used that word twice, though. I need to come up with a different. Yeah.
That's the word of the day.
Kareem Hunt balled. Shout out to Kareem Hunt. He's on my fantasy squad. Yeah, so I think with that, I'm saying history is going to repeat itself. Christian McCaffrey, the rookie for the Panthers, he's going to have a great game. That's my prediction. And the Panthers are going to win. So Christian McCaffrey is going to have a punt return.
Okay.
Punt return touchdown for Christian McCaffrey, and Panthers are going to win.
We'll see about that. I'm keeping track of these guys, by the way. So in the next couple of days, I'm gonna blow these up all right in Josh's face. Here we got the battle of the L's, bro.
L's up.
L City over here. We got the Bengals versus the Browns.
How many wins totals do they got between those two teams?
You want me to say it in Spanish or English, bro? I got you in both.
Okay.
In Espanol, cero. In English, zero. In the Straight Talk podcast, we would say zilch, nada. Ain't nobody got no W's on the board.
We got just as many wins
That's
collectively and fewer losses.
That's true.
And fewer
We're
losses.
doing good.
We're a higher.
We got a nice percentage going.
We're higher. We're leading in the divisional race.
It's horrible. So just to keep it short and simple, because nobody even really cares about them at this point besides their hometown fans, I'm just gonna go Browns because they need it. They've had several years of being horrible.
Yeah, I would like to see Deshaun Kaiser have a good game. Who's their quarterback? I don't know if you know.
Who cares? They're the Cleveland Browns. Nobody cares about anything in Cleveland besides the Indians part-time and the Cavaliers full-time.
Yeah, he's their 60th quarterback since 2002.
Fun fact of the day.
It's not true, but yeah.
It's basically true. Basically. Though. I'm just gonna roll with it because I've seen the number on paper, but it might as well be 60, so I'll take it.
I'm gonna go with Cincinnati in this game, and it kind of seems like I'm just going against what you're saying, but I'm not. I'm not. Yeah, I've always kind of liked Cincinnati.
Right.
My brother has family in Cincinnati, so shout out to them.
We got a homeboy in Cincinnati. Shouts out AP.
Hey, AP, shout out to you for sure. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Cincinnati. I don't like Andy Dawson. I'm not even gonna lie. He's not that good of a quarterback.
Is that the redhead guy?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's a walking out. Move on.
Yeah.
Rams,
Cowboys. Rams and Cowboys.
Both are 2-1 right now.
Mm-hmm.
Playing pretty well, leading in their divisions.
Yeah.
So, more than anything, I'm looking forward to the running game between Gurley and Zeke.
For sure.
But what's your take on that game?
I picked the Dallas Cowboys.
Oh, we on the same page, y'all. This is a historic moment in Straight Talk history.
I picked the Dallas Cowboys. I'm still not on the bandwagon for the Rams yet.
You shouldn't be ever, because they left us.
Yeah. Oh, by the way, did you see that they lost on average 24,000 fans this year, which is the high or the most amount of fans, the decrease in fans in ever in NFL history.
I wonder why.
24,000 fans on average, fewer at each game.
Why, Josh? I think it's maybe because they left a city that wanted them and cared about them even when they were trash. Whatever.
Yeah.
Whatever. I'm not gonna hold it against them.
Yeah, so like I said, I'm not on that bandwagon yet. I still think, like I said, last year they started 3-1 and they still were in the top 15 draft picks.
Right.
This year they started 2-1. This is a big game. If they beat the Cowboys this week, they're favorite. They're the underdog. We're looking at the schedule, and there's I think they're the 70% of people believe, or the 70% chance that the Dallas Cowboys will win. So they're definitely an underdog pick. If they win this game, it's going to catch some eyes. It might even catch my eye because the Dallas Cowboys are pretty good. They've kind of gone off, not to the start that they probably wanted to, but they're still a fair, good start.
Yeah.
So if the Rams do win, it might catch my attention, but I'm going with the Cowboys.
I strongly agree. Like I said, I'm just looking forward to watching the yards pile up between Todd and Zeke. That's gonna be fun.
Yeah.
I mean, hell, they could just spend the whole game chucking it to those guys and letting them run. I'd be fine with it. They're both pretty good at what they do. And
even after Zeke got only 6 yards last week?
It was just a bad game. We're just gonna chalk it up to being a bad game.
Okay, yeah, that's fair.
His reputation precedes him, and I'm not gonna hold that one game against him because last year he looked like he was one of the best players in that league. So I'm not mad at it.
All right, we're gonna move on to the next game, which is Oakland versus Denver. This caught our eyes, a divisional battle.
Yeah.
Between the Raiders and the Broncos. They are in Denver. So who you got, Rev?
I'm gonna keep it short and simple. Like I told you on the first episode, I'm hopping on the Oakland bandwagon. I like Carr. I thought they had a pretty good season last year as a unit. And then they added Marshawn Lynch to it, who is in the last few years been one of my favorite players in the league. He's one of those guys you can't help but like. And then he's also good at what he does. It's not like he's a cool guy, but just not good at his job. He's good at it and he's likable, unless you're white America, because they don't like him too much. But anyway, I'm going with the Raiders for those reasons. Short
Okay.
and simple.
Yeah, we agree once again. We don't
And
always
not
just-
going with the Broncos because they don't have Peyton Manning.
You're
Just for that reason.
Peyton Manning fan.
Yeah. How can you not be?
Okay. Yeah.
Whatever. Just saying.
Yeah, he's been gone for a full season.
Still real to me, man. I'll never let him go.
Yeah, I'm going with Oaktown too. Like you said, even though the Broncos have been doing really well.
Yeah.
I'm like most people. It's not unlikely that a lot of people are jumping on the Oaktown bandwagon. I am a fan of the Golden State Warriors. They're also in Oakland, so
True.
it only makes sense for me to kind of root for those teams. Well, no, actually, it doesn't make sense at all because I don't root for the San Francisco Giants
For the Oakland
or
A's.
the Oakland A's. So no, that was a horrible point.
Bandwagon.
Yeah, I'm not that. Yeah, actually, we need to cut. Don't cut that out.
Yeah, no, I'm keeping that on record.
Cut that out. No, but no, I like most people. A lot of people jumping on the bandwagon. I like the Raiders right now too. I might not like them next year because they're moving to Las Vegas.
Yeah,
That kind of sucks.
I don't understand this whole idea between trying to put sports teams in Las Vegas. I think we talked about before the short list of teams that could be due for an NBA expansion, and people keep wanting to bring up Vegas, and Vegas doesn't scream sports to me.
Mm-mm.
Vegas screams
Gambling.
nightclubs, strip clubs, gambling. It's Sin City. None of that screams family.
And that's
friendly.
a
Let's
horrible
go to the
place.
Football game.
Place for these football players who already getting in trouble. Now they're gonna be in Vegas.
Athletes have enough distractions as is. The last thing you need is hookers, prostitutes, gambling, and a whole bunch of club scenes. That's not what athletes need. That doesn't seem like a productive environment for me for any type of athletic team. I don't care if it's the ping pong team. There's too many distractions. But yeah, I don't think it's a good move. Anyway,
We're both going Oaktown on that one, Oakland on that one.
Oaktown.
So last but not least, we got the Monday night matchup. The Kansas City Chiefs are home against the Washington Redskins. Who you got, Rev?
Well, I tell you what, only because they are so close. Oh, you remember Chief in middle school, who always used to rep the Kansas City Chiefs?
Yeah.
In his memory, bro, I'm going for the Chiefs. In his memory, I'm going for the Chiefs, bro.
Weak.
And as far as I'm concerned, the Redskins ain't been nothing since RG3, because I think that's the only reason people really cared about the Redskins was RG3.
Yeah.
And occasionally seeing Kevin Durant in a Redskins jersey. Aside from that, nobody really cared. So I'm going with the Kansas City Chiefs just because my homeboy Chief. That's why I'm going.
Okay. I'm also going with the Chiefs. I'm actually a fan of the Chiefs. I like the Chiefs.
They're not that bad.
Yeah. I mean, they're another. I guess that's kind of like the default team that people from St. Louis root for now.
True.
They do have a good team. I do like their team. It's that losing Eric Berry really hurt them. But yeah, I like the Chiefs. Definitely in this game. It should be Chiefs. I'm going with the Chiefs.
Battle of the Indian teams. Is that going?
Okay.
Anyway, on to MLB. Josh, I know this is your flavor of the week. Are we good?
Yeah, we're good. My bad. Yeah, flavor of the week.
I want to talk about World Series predictions. We're winding down in the season. We've got some teams that have clinched, such as the Dodgers, the Cubs, the Nationals. They're going to go all the way, right? We've got some good teams in that mix. So who do you see actually going to the World Series?
I'm going to flip this question on you. Who do you got going to the World Series? I've already talked about baseball today. How about you talk about baseball?
Oh, you want to hear what I got to say?
What do you have to say about baseball in the MLB? Not middle linebacker, but Major League Baseball. What? Tell me.
Okay. You know what? Since you busted out the bandwagon card on our last question about football, I'm going to bust out the bandwagon card on baseball. Everybody know I was born in Chicago.
Oof.
I was born there. Chirac.
We canceling this.
64th and North. Nah, I'm just playing. I went from my city is the hood now, but it wasn't the hood when I was there. But for that reason, and since that is one of my second homes, I'm putting the Cubs back there.
Okay.
I hope that they're going to carry on that momentum and continue to be good for the next couple years because nobody wants to see them go through another drought like that again. And I would actually like to see the Indians back in it. That was pretty fun between those two teams. What was the funniest thing was though, who had a 3-1 lead in that series?
In the Indians.
The Indians did.
Yeah.
You know what other team in Cleveland just had come back from a 3-1
Yeah.
deficit?
And I was actually watching the World Series. I was like, this is a win-win scenario for me because if the Cleveland Indians win, then we can talk more stuff about the Cubs.
True.
But if they lost,
they blew a 3-1 lead.
Cleveland, they blew a 3-1 lead.
After
so Cleveland,
all summer long,
they couldn't say nothing.
3-1 lead.
Couldn't say nothing. I was happy.
See, I thought the 3-1 lead jokes were funny only because you guys had just beat us and we had blown a 3-1 lead. Yeah. So it's kind of funny to see the shoe be on your foot. So 3-1 lead makes the world go round. It's the gift that keeps on giving when people keep blowing it. So I think that was a pretty fun series. It'd be nice to see a city in Cleveland do well aside from the Cavaliers. Because that would have been a hell of a year if the Indians had won the same year that the Cavs did.
Yeah.
After so many years of them not winning zilch.
Nothing.
So either way, I think it's a win-win for either team. I don't really have a pick. If I had to pick one,
you got to pick one.
just because Chicago.
Okay, that's fair.
By default, but I would also be happy to see the Indians win because I think Cleveland is one of those towns, kind of like us, not a lot going for it really. Mm-hmm. And they have not much to support but their sports teams. So you'd like to see them continue to hopefully gain some wins instead of just having one championship every billion years.
Well, you never know. Maybe the Cleveland Browns can take it all the way.
You know, I think that they're going to come back this season, and they're going undefeated for the rest of the season, starting this week with the Bills. That's my prediction. They're going to go all the way. And then at the end of the season, they're going to drop their quarterback and start fresh and do it all over again.
All right.
Who you got, fella?
So as far as my baseball playoff picks, well, I'm gonna actually not do the World Series. I'm gonna start in the NLCS Championship Series. I got the Dodgers versus the Cubs. That's going to be an epic. I think that's going to be probably the best series of the playoffs. And then on the AL side of things, I was the NL. On the AL side, I got the Cleveland Indians and the Houston Rockets. Houston Rockets. I said the Houston Rockets.
Whoa, what are you talking about?
The Houston,
we're not that far yet.
The Houston Astros. My bad. So the Cleveland Indians and the Houston Astros. And I think as far as the World Series, it's going to be. I'm going with the Dodgers. Finally making it to the World Series for the first time since like the 80s.
Say now. They always clinch their division and then don't do anything.
Yeah,
What's
they do. I mean, a lot of that had to do with the Cardinals, but the Cardinals aren't in it this year.
Yeah.
Ooh. And I want to see Houston make it to the World Series. They made last time they made the World Series was 2005. Oh no 2007.
I think. Overdue.
Yeah, they're overdue.
10 years, yeah, okay.
2007, I believe. And the winner of that, so the Dodgers versus Houston in World Series, I'm going to go with. Ooh, I'm just looking at it. That's gonna be good. I'm gonna go with the Astros. I think that what wins it is picking up Justin Verlander. That was a huge pickup for them. They have Jose Altuve, who's probably gonna win the AL MVP.
Mm-hmm.
He's been hitting. I think he just recently got 200 hits. And Carlos Correa, he's another beast. He's a baller. So I like Houston. I think they're still young. They got a lot of guys that are hopefully, for my prediction's sake, can carry them to the World Series as well as win them the World Series. I would like to see Houston get another World Series. That's the team that I would most like to see out of the teams that I've picked. I don't want to see Cleveland win the World Series. I definitely don't want to see the Cubs win a World Series. And I mean, I'm indifferent about the Dodgers. They could win.
You had a guy on the Dodgers that you really liked. What's his name?
Who is talking about?
I thought he was
Oh,
on the
Puig?
Dodgers.
Yeah, he's on the
I
Dodgers.
thought you really liked Puig.
Oh yeah, because we went to that game
Yeah,
that one
he
time. He was a phenom then. He's not really a phenom
kind
anymore.
of fizzled
That
out.
was
Huh?
like that was like how long
And that
ago
was
was that?
probably 2 or 3.
That was like three. That was like
Yeah.
three
Were
or
we in
4
high
years
school?
ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, we were in
Oh,
high school.
jeez.
Yeah,
How
that
old
was
is
4
he?
years ago. Puig was a dang. He been in the league that long.
Right. Throwback.
Yeah, Puig was he was a phenom then. He was a beast.
Yeah.
He made that throw from right field
He
to
was
get one of the
balling.
runners out at second. Man, that was he was a beast. But I mean, like you said, he's kind of fizzled out now. They got Cody Bellinger right
I
now.
can't believe that was that long
He's
ago.
their new up and coming guy. Corey Seager. He's going to be a future MVP of the league.
Maybe Puig's gonna assert himself back into that status.
I mean, he might. He still
phenom.
plays, but he's not. No, he's not a phenom anymore. You can't be a phenom for 4 years, and last year you got sent down to the minors.
I meant to call you when I saw that. I was like, "Whoa, what's going on with that?" That's
I didn't know it was like that was your thing to like say that's my favorite player or something. I like that's a player. Well, I guess it is kind of a player that I like.
Sworn 4 years ago you said you really liked Puig.
No, I did.
I see Puig and I think a fella on the car phone.
That's because we
At
was
the
at a
time, he
Dodgers
was
Cardinals
hot.
game. He was a beast. He had really just become like famous as far as a household name. Not really a household name, but
he was just
if he
getting that
followed
clout up.
baseball, yeah, he got his clout.
He was having the cloud goggles on.
Yeah, cloud goggles, exactly. And if somebody got their cloud goggles on, you can't hate on the cloud goggles.
True. Cloud goggles are ultimate boost.
Okay.
So what you're saying really though is, since he was really hot at the time, you were on the bandwagon.
Absolutely, I was on the bandwagon. I don't have anything.
Guys, this just in. Straight Talk News. We got a halt.
Oh, Jesus.
Straight Talk News segment.
I don't want to hear that.
Anchor Romero Starks, aka Rev Ro. This just in. Joshua, fella on the car phone, Tyler, is officially a bandwagon. That is
Jesus.
That is 2 cases within the same hour that we've heard him say something.
Oh my God.
in regards to him being a bandwagon. Anyway, back to your regularly scheduled programming, Josh, aka Young Fella. Let's jump over into the greatest league in American sports. The league where you can actually have fun. The league that's actually fun to watch.
Speaking of which, did you see Adam Silver said that you can't even kneel for the national anthem?
Yeah, well, that's not about
fun.
These people don't want.
No, I'm kidding.
Can't
Go
have
ahead.
those colors doing that now, boy. You got to keep them in check. But we've got some interesting stuff going on in that league. But before we go on to the interesting things that have been happening, I want to talk about the ultimate disrespect, Josh.
Who's disrespecting the NBA?
There's disrespect in the NBA.
That's unheard of.
Right? But you see, with all these offseason moves, everybody's getting new favorite contenders. Oh, the Wolves. Oh, the Thunder. Oh, the Rockets. Just because they got Chris Paul, which since when is Chris Paul a paradigm-shifting player? I don't know.
Chill.
Anyway, we've got all these favorite new contenders. Oh, and the Celtics, just because they got Kyrie. Oh, the Celtics. Are we forgetting that the Spurs are historically good? I mean, every year they get overlooked until they finally show people why they shouldn't be overlooked. The year that the Warriors won 73 games, the Spurs weren't that far behind them. Before the Warriors even hit 70, I think while the Warriors had like 69 wins, the Spurs had like 62. Like they weren't that far back.
Yeah, they weren't. They were like I remember looking at it. I'm pretty sure at a certain point, maybe in like February, they were only 2 games behind.
They were right there.
Yeah,
they and
the question was for a long time was, are they even going to win this? Because that's how close they were. But they kind of got a little cold and the Heat, or not the Heat, the Warriors just kept winning.
Yeah, and like I said, that year they almost both won 70 games, but people still kept focusing on the Warriors. But then even last year, and your opening night on your court, the Spurs went crazy and beat y'all boys by 20, 30.
Actually, they lost that game, but yeah.
Not opening night.
Oh.
Opening night of the NBA, I watched that game.
Yeah, my bad. I thought you were talking about the playoffs.
Yeah. No, not the playoffs. No, I'm talking about opening night of that season. Everybody was so hyped. Oh, Kevin Durant's first game in Oakland. No. The Spurs shut that up real quick. I mean, Jonathan Simmons was out there looking like he was the best player on the Spurs.
Yeah, I do. Actually, I do remember that.
Yeah. And then even in the playoffs, up until you sent your best player out to stop him, Kawhi was roasting the
Mhm.
Warriors. And everybody had overlooked the Spurs for a long time, but the Spurs turn it up. They play really well in regular season, but once it gets to postseason,
They do.
Spurs are a different animal and the same beast.
Mhm.
Word to Kobe Bryant.
Yeah.
So I just feel like why are they being so overlooked, Josh? You think it's because all the all-star moves on the other teams?
It,
Do we forget that the Spurs consistently do well without a billion all-stars on their roster?
they're overlooked. Yeah, that's exactly why they're overlooked. They're boring
Boring to who?
to NBA
You know what's boring?
watchers.
Watching them shoot 53s a
That's not
game.
boring. That's
That is
exciting.
boring.
No, absolutely
That
not.
is
The
definitely
3-point
boring.
shot is the new slam dunk.
No, it's not. It's
Oh,
not fun to
please.
watch.
What's
Not
more exciting during All-Star weekend, the 3-point contest or the dunk contest?
well. Lately, the dunk contest has only
Oh
been bad
yeah,
because
yeah.
there's
But
no good
before then, what was
participant.
when it was Curry, Clay in the same before? Because they played that first. They it was 2 years ago.
Yeah,
It was Clay and Curry in the same
and
3-point
Kyrie was in
contest.
that one too.
And when they were doing it, there was like people were saying they need to. This is before Zach Levine. They were saying people, all right, we need to think about maybe putting the 3-point contest second, the main event,
Yeah,
because before then the dunk contest was fizzling out. Like it
it's
wasn't.
been up and down for a while because nobody gets involved in it. That's the problem. I think at this point, the 3-point contest is only more interesting because we're able to get real deal snipers in the 3-point contest. None of the good dunkers in the league want to be a part of All Star Weekend. I don't know if it's because they're afraid to fail on the main stage. You got to think years ago, a dunk contest involving Bron, involving Russ, stuff like that stuff would have been excited. So it's hard to compare that now because dunk contest has been trash for years. But I personally don't feel like watching Steph pull up for three all game and KD and Clay get open threes. That's not really exciting.
I disagree.
I like the Warriors inside and outside game being able to.
Yeah, but back to the topic. We a little
Just
tangent there. We're
Warriors are
gonna that's
trash.
a topic for another day. We're gonna say that for another day.
Trash Warriors are trash.
Okay.
My favorite.
But yeah, I mean the Spurs they're just a boring. They've always been a boring team, but they always got the job done. I actually like Greg Popovich.
Goat.
Yeah, I do like. I think he's an awesome coach. He's an awesome guy. But they're just his style of basketball is not exciting to watch. Kawhi is not a necessarily he's not a flary guy, and
He'll dunk
people
on you with a straight face.
yeah,
Keep moving.
and
Look at it happen.
people that watch the NBA like people with flair. You gotta have some kind of swag.
That's fair
They
enough.
don't have that.
Yeah.
And I mean obviously you don't need that because they've had 50 million winning seasons or in a row.
Josh,
50 million 50 win seasons in a row.
you ever seen Game of Zones? Bleacher Report?
Yeah, I've
They
seen
they
some of them.
compare the Spurs to the what's those guys, the Ice Walkers or whatever on
I don't
Game of
watch that
Thrones.
show.
Straight face killers, bro.
I don't watch
They
that
don't
show.
do that hooping and hollering.
Yeah.
Spurs historically successful.
Shout out to Cam. He's a
Yeah, shout out Cam. Shout out
huge.
Bruce too.
Yeah, they're both huge Game of Thrones fans.
Y'all know what I mean. White Walkers. That's what it is. I
Oh,
believe.
okay. Well, we don't
Yeah,
watch that, so we're not going to talk about
that's over Josh's plate.
payroll. I wish you did, baby. Oh, all right. So moving on to the next topic. Just one last. We're just gonna touch on this real quick. Don't want to take up too much of your guys' time. So I was thinking about this a little bit before the show. I wanted to ask Romero about maybe like a dark horse team. We're still talking about the NBA here. A dark horse team in the NBA. Maybe a team, obviously not the ones I know that you're rooting for. You know that I'm rooting for. So what's a team that maybe is not on anybody's radar, um, that you think that not necessarily gonna beat the Warriors, or just a team that's gonna make a splash? Kind of for instance, like the Portland Trail Blazers a couple years ago when they beat the Rockets in the playoffs.
Yeah.
It was just a team that made a splash in the playoffs. People that kind of didn't see coming. So I was, what's one of those teams? Who's a team in the East or in the West? What you think?
West, I would go. I can't say Thunder because you said don't pick somebody that I would usually pick. Only reason I would pick them is because I feel like they're being overlooked because everybody has this narrative. Paul George, Melo, and Russ are all ball hogs. But anyway, aside from them, I would say that the Rockets, if if they pan out well, I think the Rockets would be an interesting matchup for the Warriors only because they play the same game, threes, threes, threes. So offensively, that's going to be a lights out showcase. Kind of like what was that game 4? I think in Cleveland. where they were just threes back and forth between the Warriors and Cleveland. I think that's a series between the Rockets and Golden State would look much like that. They'd probably break some records because they both teams chuck up a lot of threes and they go down. So I think that'll be interesting. As far as out east, disregarding the Cavs and the Celtics, maybe the Raptors can finally do something productive. It's kind
I
of
don't
hard.
know about that one, buddy.
Nobody in the up until the Cavs got super.
Nobody
Really. Unless you think Dwight Howard's going to have a resurgence.
No.
Oh, you know what? Actually, I would go Miami Heatles. I don't think they'd make it to the finals by any means, but Miami was on a hot streak at the end of the year. They barely missed the playoffs.
I would like to see Dion Waiters lead that team. That would be dope.
Miami they played good against good teams.
Mm-hmm.
Dion daggered the Warriors.
That's a guy that I would like to see really take another step and maybe even become an all-star next year.
I mean, I wanted him to take a step when he played in OKC, but yeah, I'm ready for him to actually take that step.
Well, in OKC, he didn't know how to pass the ball.
He also didn't know how to run up the court without slipping. He busted his butt like a billion times on last year. So that's I don't know his shoes or what. So yeah, I'd like to see the Miami Heatles do something.
Okay.
And we're gonna see a lot of random all-stars in the East because it's open season now. So Dion Waiters might make a team.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with you gotta listen, man. Trust the process.
I forgot all
Trust
about
the
them.
process. I'm going with the Philadelphia 76ers.
If everybody stays healthy, that's the key.
Yeah, but I mean, Ben Simmons is going to stay. Ben Simmons was ready halfway through last season. They just didn't want to play him.
Can't shoot. If
he doesn't have to shoot.
He's got to be able to score some way besides just dunks, though. At least his shot might have improved, though. I could be wrong.
I'm positive his shot.
Based on the footage I've seen.
But you're basing that off of his college stuff.
No, I'm basing that off of the practice footage I've seen. Nobody on that team could make a jump shot the other day. They couldn't buy a bucket.
Yeah. I did see that. That was ridiculous.
Who let that out, by the way? That man should be fired. That was another story.
That was ridiculous. But yeah, trust the process, man. I think the 76, man, Markelle Fultz, keep an eye on him. I think he's gonna have a good season. I feel like I'd much rather see him in Philadelphia than because I think in Philadelphia they traded up to take they traded up to take the Boston.
Take Fultz. They wanted to bait 76ers into switching for it. According to Tatum, they was gonna take him all along.
That makes sense. I mean, it makes sense because they shouldn't have took Fultz. Yeah. It didn't make any sense to take Fultz.
The only reason I saw them taking Fultz is because I figured they were gonna get rid of Thomas. I knew they weren't gonna pay him next summer.
Yeah.
So that's the only reason I saw them taking Fultz. But yeah, at the time, that decision didn't make sense.
Yeah. But yeah, trust the process. Yeah. I want to see Joel Embiid have a monster season this year. I want to see him. I mean, yeah, if he stays healthy, he's definitely because he's probably one of the most popular players outside of the obvious people. He's kind of like the next person up, next guy up for sure. If he can keep playing like the way he played last year with only 24 minutes a game, I want to see him have an outbreak season. That'll be awesome. Markelle Fultz, Ben Simmons.
They got Redick. They got a real deal sniper.
JJ Redick.
So in between Simmons and Fultz passing, JJ Redick gonna eat.
I want to see Philadelphia. That's
Don't forget about Super Dario. Dario Saric is nice too.
Yeah, Saric. Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I like him too.
What about in the West? You rocking with the Wolves still?
Yeah, the Wolves. Definitely the Timberwolves.
I think they match up nicely athletically.
Yeah, I like the Wolves better than I like the Houston Rockets, if I'm being very honest with you.
I only like the Rockets because of their scoring potential from the threes. Can dominate the paint all day, barbecue chicken, but they can't shoot more twos than the Warriors will threes.
Yeah. I'm gonna go with the Wolves on that one.
Nobody in the West has a bench though, so it's open season.
The Warriors do. But all right.
Aside.
All right, we just gotta stop taking shots at each other about our favorite basketball teams.
That's why we do this. We can't talk basketball. We need a different podcast solely just for beef. About to have straight talk and straight beef.
Straight beef.
Straight beef.
With Fella and Rev between. But all right, we're gonna wrap up the show, and you know how we like to wrap it up. How we like to wrap it up, Rev?
Are you speaking, Fella, or you shouting?
I am speaking.
What are you speaking about?
I'm speaking about the St. Louis Cardinals, and I know I talked about them a little earlier in the show, at the beginning of the show, actually. But I just wanted to, I guess I can congratulate them on it. They got another winning season. Hopefully they can. I mean, it really don't matter at this point. So, but maybe,
Almost doesn't count.
yeah, maybe they win a few games. But as far as the offseason, I'm really looking to make for them to be making some big moves.
Yeah,
This is
for
two
sure.
straight seasons without a playoff.
Yeah.
Uh, that's not gonna fly in St. Louis. We're a baseball town. You gotta make the playoffs. I'm
Yeah.
sorry. One
Playoff or bust,
one
really.
yeah, one thing that a lot of people are calling for is to fire Mike Matheny, and I think that is a would be a horrible decision. I like Mike Matheny. He led us in his first what six years of the team. These are his first 2 years of not making the playoffs.
Right.
Okay, you give him a chance.
Right. Right.
He led us to the playoffs in his first year. We lost to the Giants. In the second year, he led us to the World Series. We lost to the Boston Red Sox.
True. True.
In the third year, he led us again to the playoffs. We lost to the Giants again.
Yeah.
I mean, give the man. It's just a down season. Every team. I don't care if it's basketball, football, baseball. Every team's gonna have its up and its down.
But even with a winning coach, that happens in baseball, basketball.
Yeah,
I mean, like you look at OKC with Scott Brooks, he historically was good with them. Every year he was even better, unless there was a horrible injury like Durant being gone this season.
yeah,
They still fired him. So, I mean, coaching that's part of
yeah.
what comes with it.
Yeah, I don't think they need to fire him. I think he's done a fairly good job. He's not doing the best job in the world, but he's doing for what the players that he has, because you got to think about it. The players that we had this year, that's not a it's, they're just not a playoff team. We got to
True.
make some improvements on this roster. Mainly, it's got to be. I mean, maybe especially this year, it's got to be the bullpen. Making some improvements there. We need to get a solidified closer. We didn't have a closer the entire season. Um, improve, and obviously you improve the bullpen in every off season for the most part. You retool and get some new guys more times than not. And like I said earlier, getting that fifth starter, solidifying the starting rotation, or maybe even you got so many young guys in the minors right now, have them battle it out in the spring training for that fifth spot. You got Dakota Hudson, you got Sandy Alcantara, and you got his name is I'm drawing a blank on his name, but it's another guy. Oh, Jack Flaherty. You got him, and he had a ridiculous season in the minors this year. Have them battle you. Yeah,
Maybe we Tebow. No. Okay.
yeah, you
I'm sorry.
you have to yeah, have them guys. You got me losing my train of thought. You got them guys. Have them battle it out for that fifth spot. Obviously, in the spring training, somebody's going to step up to the plate. Hopefully,
Right.
I would love to see Alcantara get that fifth spot. He throws 100 miles an hour. Everybody likes somebody that throws 100 miles an hour. But Flaherty had a good minor league season this year. He was under like a hovering around 2 ERA, and that's awesome. So have one of them battle it out. I would love to see Sierra make a start or come up into the start the season in the majors. And that'll probably just depend on his spring training. So you might not even really need to make as many moves in all season as you think. But I think a move that they do need to make is just maybe it's time to get a big star on this team. We haven't had a huge star on this team really since Albert Pujols. We haven't made any big
Yeah.
free agency splashes, and we hadn't had a huge star on our team since Albert Pujols. And I think that's what we're lacking right now. We're
It's
lacking
a ghost of Pujols.
a star. Yeah, I mean it really is. So that this might be the year because if you have a starting five, if you can retool your minor or I'm sorry, your bullpen,
Yeah.
if you can add a star to this team, we're easily a playoff team because we got a million role players. And Tommy Pham, I think he's emerging as a star, but he's 20. He's going to be 29 next year. That's the peak. So he might have his peak season, but once you start turning 30, once you get to your 31 season, your 32 season, you start making you're going to digress a little. So I think if you add another star player, like I said, I feel like Fam is a star on the team. He is the star on the team, and he's kind of after this good season, he's gotten his um what's the word? He's gotten his
Clout.
yeah he's got his clout. And people know who he is.
You
So
got to get them goggles out.
yeah, get the clout goggles, But if we can add somebody alongside him with the rest of the role players that we got, maybe a lot of those young guys are going to hopefully they step up next year. Alex Reyes, I want to see him. He's going to be in talks for rookie of the year more than likely. Hopefully, he's going to ball out, and I think he's going to be the ace of the team for the next hopefully 10 years without ever getting injured. We're going to pray on that. But so yeah, that's just my look out. I'm actually excited for next season as long as they do make a big splash in free agency. Just pick it's time to pick up a big name. It's time to get um a $200 million guy.
I think we need a legend back.
Like who?
McGuire.
I know
I think we can bring Jeter out of retirement.
Jeter.
Yeah. I think St. Louis has the pull. It's a big market. There's plenty to do as long as you avoid the east side.
Anywho,
Okay.
Mr. Starks, aka Rev, aka Rev Row.
Yes, sir.
Are you speaking or are you shouting?
I'm shouting from the rooftops. But the plot twist, the gag is, it's happy shouting, Josh.
Oh,
Because you know what? It's what a time to be alive as an Oklahoma City Thunder fan.
absolutely.
Mind you, and I don't want to disrespect any of these players, but in some circles, these guys are considered bum. In this summer, Sam Presti has flipped Victor Oladipo,
Yeah.
Domantas Sabonis.
Who?
Domantas Sabonis. Exactly. Who? You wouldn't know him if you weren't a Thunder fan.
Yeah.
Uh,
Actually, I do know him. It's just
and I like those guys. Don't get me wrong. And he's flipped Doug McDermott, who's actually one of my favorites, and he hasn't hit his stride yet. And Enes Kanter. I really like Ennis a lot. I just wish he could have played better defense. I thought he was great. Offensive rebounds, his scoring, he's good.
they didn't need him though.
Yeah, well, not really, but would have been nice. Anyway, he flipped those four and a pick into Paul George and Carmelo Anthony. Nobody on this green earth would have expected star players to be gravitated towards Oklahoma. Once Kevin Durant left, most people thought Russell would be next, and Oklahoma would fade into the land of being mediocre.
Most people, including myself.
Yeah, I actually expected Russ to get traded, and then he signed a quick deal last summer, and then guess what he just did today? He re-upped on it, cuh. 5 years, $205 million.
That's a lot of money.
Bring out the Brinks trucks. You know what happened earlier this summer? Steph got what? 5 years, 201?
202.
You know what Russ said? Forget all of that, cuz. I'm getting more.
He
more
deserves
money.
it. He deserves more.
And then you know what else today was? Kevin Durant's birthday. Some people feel like it was a petty move. I don't really buy into it.
It's
but
not that deep.
It's a funny narrative.
Yeah, it's not that deep though.
So anyway, we got Russ staying long term. And the fact that he's willing to stay long term gives me the indication that potentially Paul George or Carmelo might stay long term. Because if they're not staying past this season, I don't really see why he would have re upped on that deal. I appreciate the loyalty greatly, but Russell is one of those guys that he deserves a ring. He deserves a shot at the championship time and time again. So hopefully, him citing that he'll be there for the foreseeable future is a look towards other people staying. And so, yeah, it's a good time to be a Thunder fan. Shouts out to Sam Presti, the GOAT God of GMs. Shouts out to Russ, the GOAT God of point guards. We are busting out the clout goggles and new Nike jerseys in Oklahoma City. It is live.
Yeah, instead of straight talk is our little picture. We're going to put clout goggles.
Clout goggles, yeah. We might have to add clout goggles.
We're going to have to add clout goggles. We're just going to add a bunch of stuff on there.
Yeah,
and
for real.
Clout goggles being one of them.
Clout goggles,
But yeah, that is the show that we have for you guys. We hope you enjoyed it. Straight talk. So yeah, we like I said earlier in the show, follow us. You can follow me at Joshua G. Tyler. on all social media platforms. That is Twitter, Instagram, and then don't add me on Facebook. But
Yeah.
Twitter, Instagram, Joshua G. Tyler. Please subscribe, like this video on YouTube. Subscribe at Joshua Tyler. That's my page on YouTube, and hit the subscribe or hit the follow button actually on Twitch.
You can subscribe if you want to. We take money if you want to do it.
Yeah, I haven't set that up.
Okay,
at all
well,
yet.
just follow them.
Yeah,
Never
follow
mind.
us, and then that way you'll know when we start. We're gonna, like I said, you guys, if you're accustomed, we're doing this every Friday. So when we go live, you'll know if you follow us. So if you don't have a Twitch account, make a Twitch account. It's not difficult. It's free. It's not like you have to put your credit card, information in. So you're good. So just sign up, hit the follow button. You'll know when we're live streaming the Twitch.
You'll
And if
never miss
not,
a video again.
yeah.
Let it bless you.
And if not, you can look at the videos on YouTube. And when you're on YouTube, hit the subscribe button. And that way, when I upload the videos, you'll be able to look at it there.
And you can follow me at Rev_Row on Instagram and soon to be Twitter. I'm going to rework my Twitter or make another one. So look out for Rev_Row on Twitter. Until next Friday, this has been
Straight Talk.
What?
Straight Talk.
Huh?
Straight Talk. This the Straight Talk.
Straight Talk. Fella and Rev.
With the who?
Fella and Rev.
With who?
Your hub for sports.
Uh-huh.
We got it all.
Uh-huh.
We finna ball.
Uh-huh.
Talking basketball.
Uh-huh.
Talking football. Talking baseball. Thank you all for listening. It's been lovely. Fella, thanks for everything.
Peace.
We out this month.